doors closed quietly again. Somebody sighed into the winter air. Neon reflections on the rainy street. People move fast, but nobody speaks. A cup of coffee at a convenience store. Blue light shining through the automatic door. The city keeps running all through the night, but lonely hearts still hide from the light. Seoul never sleeps, the buildings still glow. Cars flow like rivers under the cold overpass road. But somewhere inside this fast-moving dream, someone is quietly falling apart. Someone is smiling alone by the hand river, trying to warm a tired heart. The last train disappears into the dark. A delivery bike passes like a spark. Street lights flicker on wet alley roads. Old songs leaking from hidden bars below. I walk slowly through Euljiro tonight. Old signs shaking in fluorescent light. The city feels cold from far away, but warm in very small ways. Seoul never sleeps, the night keeps breathing. Windows still glowing while the whole world is dreaming. And maybe we're all just trying to survive this beautiful city that never stops moving inside. Oh, rain on the river, neon in my eyes, a quiet jazz melody floating into the sky. Seoul never sleeps, but we still dream. Even tired hearts still search for something. One more night, one more train, one more silent walk through the neon rain. Seoul never sleeps, but we still dream. The city still hums outside tonight. Taxi lights blur in the pouring rain. I walked in just to escape the cold, but somehow stayed again. Plastic chairs beside the window, microwave humming soft and low. A tired worker counting coins while old pop music plays slow. Convenience store lights at 2 a.m. feel warmer than they should. People come and disappear like memories in the neighborhood. Cup noodles steaming quietly, coffee melting through the night. Nobody asks where you've been, nobody asks if you're alright. Outside the river keeps flowing. cars crossing bridges endlessly. Inside this tiny bright store, the world finally breathes slowly. Students sleeping on textbooks, a delivery rider fixing gloves, someone staring at their phone, waiting for a little love. Convenience store lights at 2 a.m. The city feels less cold. Even lonely strangers here look familiar somehow. I hear the automatic door opening again and again, like the sound of Seoul itself, never really sleeping. Rainwater on the pavement shines under white fluorescent glow, and for a very small moment I don't wanna go home. Convenience store lights at 2 a.m. Tiny shelter in the storm, in this sleepless city tonight. This little place feels warm. The night moves fast outside, but time stands still in here. Coffee rain and neon lights floating softly through the air. Convenience store lights at 2 a.m. Still waiting in the rain for tired hearts to come inside again. Train arrives beneath cold white lights. People step inside without a word. Wet umbrellas dripping on the floor. Soft station melodies barely heard. Neon signs blur outside the window. Holiday slowly fading behind. Somebody sleeping against the subway glass, while Seoul keeps racing through the night. Last train to Hapjeong, quiet hearts heading home. The city's still glowing endlessly, but everyone feels alone. I watch reflections on the dark tunnel walls, blue light flickering from tired phones. Old messages left unanswered, like memories nobody wants to hold. The jazz song plays softly in my headphones, muted trumpet floating through the train. And suddenly the whole crowded carriage feels wrapped in gentle rain. Last train to Hapjeong, crossing the sleepless city tonight. From noisy streets into silent neighborhoods, under pale apartment lights. The announcement voice sounds distant, like a dream repeating endlessly. Napoga station names passing slowly, one by one, through the dark. still shine. Taxi lights drift across wet roads. A couple laughs near the station exit, then disappears into the cold. Last train to Hapjeong, the night breathing soft and blue. Some people heading toward tomorrow, some just trying to make it through. I step outside into the winter air, streetlights glowing over empty alleys. The city finally feels slower here, like Seoul quietly exhaling. Footsteps echo beside closed cafes, rainwater shining beneath neon signs. And somewhere above the Han River, morning waits patiently. Last train to Hapjeong, one more ride before dawn. Even lonely people in Seoul keep moving slowly on. Last train to Hapjeong, soft jazz beneath the neon rain, while the sleepless city keeps dreaming again and again. The subway window reflects my tired face, blue light flickering from my phone. I check it again without a reason, even though I already know. No messages on the way home, only station names passing by. The city moves outside the glass, like a dream I can't slow down. People sit quietly beside each other, headphones hiding the noise. Somebody sleeping against the train door, someone pretending to be okay. Rainwater slides across the tunnels, neon shaking through the dark. And somehow this crowded silence feels heavier after midnight. No messages on the way home, no missed calls tonight. Just old conversations fading slowly into the pale subway light. The announcement voice sounds distant, like it's speaking to someone else. I scroll through old photos quietly, trying not to feel too much. Outside the Han River still glows, cars flowing endlessly above. Soul keeps breathing through the darkness, even when hearts grow tired. Inside my headphones makes the loneliness softer somehow, like rain falling gently on neon roads. I step off at the final station, cold air wrapping around my coat. Convenience store lights still waiting like tiny stars beneath the city. Maybe everyone in Seoul tonight is carrying visible emptiness, walking home through crowded streets without saying it out loud. No messages on the way home, just footsteps after midnight. And somewhere beneath this sleepless city, a quiet heart still survives. No messages on the way home, the last train fading into dawn, while Seoul keeps glowing silently, long after everyone is gone. Rain falls softly on the river tonight, city lights shaking in the water below. Cars move slowly across the bridge like tired hearts trying not to let go. The radio whispers an old love song, while the windshield blurs the neon signs. Somewhere beyond these endless buildings, someone else is awake tonight. Rain on the Han River Bridge, silver reflections in the dark. The whole city keeps moving fast, but loneliness still leaves its mark. Street lights stretch across the water, like memories floating far away. I never noticed how beautiful Seoul was until nights like this made me stay. A couple walks beneath one umbrella, their footsteps fading in the rain. A delivery bike cuts through the silence, then disappears again. I stopped the car beside the river, cold wind touching my tired face. And suddenly this sleepless city feels like a strangely gentle place. Rain on the Han River Bridge, the skyline shining blue and gold. The farther I drift into the night, the warmer this city feels somehow. Apartment windows glowing quietly like thousands of unfinished stories. People surviving another long day, holding on to small hopes secretly. The rain keeps falling slowly now, soft jazz echoing through the speakers. And for a little while tonight Somewhere inside this endless city, we keep dreaming on. Old signs hanging above the alleyways, rusty staircases and faded names. The city feels different down here tonight, slower somehow beneath the neon light. Tiny workshops still glowing softly, metal sounds echo through the street. An old jazz melody leaks through a doorway, mixing with the smell of rain and coffee. Warm coffee in Euljiro, steam rising through the cold night air. Outside Seoul keeps running endlessly, but time moves slowly here. A man in a gray coat reads the newspaper. Someone quietly fixes a broken chair. The walls are cracked and old, but the warmth inside feels real. Warm coffee in Euljiro, tiny light beneath the towers, hidden between concrete and glass, lives the soul of the city somehow. I sit beside the fogged up window, watching strangers pass alone. No one speaks very much tonight, but nobody feels completely lonely. The cafe owner wipes old vinyl records, soft trumpet floating through the room, and suddenly the whole noisy city feels far away for a while. Warm coffee in Euljiro, late night comfort for tired hearts, like an old song so forgot, but still remembers after dark. Rainwater shines across the alley, taxi lights fading into blue. The night feels heavy and beautiful, like unfinished dreams drifting through. Warm coffee in Euljiro, the city breathing soft and low, and somewhere between old walls and neon, I finally slow down enough to feel so. Warm coffee in Euljiro. Euljiro, still warming the night, while Seoul never sleeps outside. Rain keeps falling over Seoul tonight, neon colors trembling in the puddles, red and blue across the empty road, like memories the city cannot hold. Umbrellas drifting through the crosswalk, taxi lights sliding through the mist. The night feels cold above the buildings, but strangely beautiful like this. Neon reflections on wet streets, shining underneath my feet. Every passing light looks softer when the rain begins to speak. Storefront windows glow like small worlds, hidden behind the rushing crowd. Someone laughs beneath an awning, then disappears into the dark. The traffic hums like distant music, subway echoes underneath this city. Never truly quiets, it only changes its heartbeat. Neon reflections on wet streets, floating through the midnight air. Lonely souls keep moving slowly, searching for warmth somewhere. I stop beside the river railing, cold rain touching my hands, watching skyscrapers blur together like unfinished dreams again. An old jazz song plays from a doorway, soft trumpet wrapped in cigarette smoke. And for a moment all this chaos feels softer than before. Neon reflections on wet streets, silver rain and glowing signs. Soul keeps dancing through the darkness without ever closing its eyes. The night buses still keep running, workers heading quietly home. Everyone carrying invisible stories, no one completely alone. Neon reflections on wet streets, the city breathing after rain. And somewhere beneath these sleepless lights, hope quietly remains. Neon reflections on wet streets, fading slowly into dawn, while soul keeps glowing beautifully long after midnight is gone. The city glows outside my window tonight. Red taillights drifting along the river. Thousands of apartment lights flicker softly like unfinished stories in the dark. Rain taps gently against the glass. The heater hums low beside the bed. A cup of cold coffee on the table, and quiet thoughts I never said. Quiet apartment window in Seoul, watching the sleepless city breathe. People moving somewhere far below, while loneliness settles softly over me. An old jazz record spins slowly, soft trumpet echoing through the room. Some nights this city feels enormous, some nights it feels too small. The elevator sound from the hallway, footsteps fading down the stairs. Someone laughs somewhere above me, then silence fills the air again. Quiet apartment window in Seoul, neon colors on the ceiling tonight. The world outside keeps rushing endlessly, but time feels frozen here. How many people right now are staring out their windows too, thinking about old memories or someone they still miss. The hand river glows in the distance, blue reflections beneath the bridge, and somehow this lonely skyline still feels strangely beautiful. Quiet apartment window in Seoul, tiny warmth inside the cold, like finding a small light in the middle of a restless world. The last subway announcement echoes, cars fade slowly into dawn, and another sleepless night in Seoul quietly moves on. Quiet apartment window in Seoul, the city still shining below. Even lonely hearts keep glowing like apartment lights in the dark. Narrow staircase under fading lights leads down beneath the noisy street. Old posters hanging on cracked walls, and soft trumpet drifting through the smoke. The bartender wipes another glass, vinyl spinning slow behind the counter. Outside Seoul keeps rushing endlessly, but time moves differently in here. A small jazz bar near Jongno, warm light inside the midnight cold, quiet strangers sitting side by side, listening like nobody needs to speak. Rainwater shines outside the window, taxi lights passing one by one. Someone closes their eyes to the music, like they finally found somewhere to rest. The piano falls softly through the room, brush drums beating like tired hearts. Every note feels filled with memories. No one here wants to explain. A small jazz bar near Jongno, hidden beneath the sleepless city, where lonely people come quietly to disappear for a little while. A man in a business suit sighs deeply. A couple shares a silent drink. Someone writes something in a notebook while cigarette smoke curls slowly upward. The owner changes the vinyl carefully, static crackling through the speakers, and suddenly the whole world outside feels very far away tonight. Oh, a small jazz bar near Jongno, the night breathing low and blue, old melodies floating through Seoul like forgotten dreams returning. The first subway will arrive soon, morning waiting beyond the dark, but nobody here seems ready to let the night end yet. A small jazz bar near Jongno, soft music beneath neon skies. In this fast-moving city tonight, we finally slow down enough to feel alive. The signal changes red to green again, crowds flowing through the midnight light, umbrellas brushing past each other like strangers sharing the same restless night. Billboards glow above the intersection, colors trembling on the wet asphalt. The city feels loud from every direction, but somehow everyone still feels alone under the neon crosswalk. People drift like waves through steps and tired faces, trying not to lose control. A busker sings beside the station, soft guitar against the traffic sound. Nobody stops for very long, but someone quietly leaves coins behind. Taxi headlights slide across puddles, store windows shimmer silver blue. A couple argues while walking quickly, then disappears into the crowd again. Under the neon crosswalk, the city breathing electric light, dreams colliding at the intersection of loneliness and city life. I stop beneath the glowing signal, rain falling softly on my coat, watching reflections move like ghosts across the sleepless road. The smell of coffee from a nearby cafe mixes with cold midnight air, and suddenly this giant city feels strangely fragile underneath the noise. Under the neon crosswalk, where thousands of stories pass each night, some people rushing toward tomorrow, some just trying to survive tonight. The music from my headphones rises, soft trumpet through the chaos below, turning crowded streets into memories before they disappear again. Under the neon crosswalk, souls shining after rain. Even in this endless movement, the heart still searches for warmth. Under the neon crosswalk, signals blinking through the dark, and somewhere between these passing strangers, someone is carrying a broken heart. Bright towers glowing through the midnight haze, screens still shining on exhausted faces, elevators rising all through the night, like this city forgot how to rest. Taxi headlights crossing crowded roads, luxury windows hiding lonely souls, people laughing under neon signs, trying hard to feel alive. Nobody sleeps in Gangnam tonight. The city keeps burning white and gold, music spilling from the rooftop bars, while tired hearts Late night phones and endless miles. Everybody moving somewhere fast, like silence is something to outrun. I walk beneath the giant buildings, cold wind drifting through the streets. Somewhere between ambition and loneliness, the city keeps breathing endlessly. Nobody sleeps in Gangnam tonight. Even the river stays awake. The skyline flickers like electric stars over dreams that never slow down. Inside a small cafe near the station, a worker falls asleep over coffee. Outside, another black car disappears into the endless Seoul night. The traffic lights change endlessly, red to green and back again, like people searching for direction without knowing where they've been. Nobody sleeps in Gangnam tonight. Neon reflections on the glass. Some dreams rise high above the skyline. Some quietly fade into the dark. And maybe that's what Seoul really is. A city full of unfinished hearts, still glowing beautifully, even when they're falling apart. Nobody sleeps in Gangnam tonight. The buildings hum softly below the moon. And somewhere in this sleepless city, morning will arrive too soon. Rain slides slowly down the taxi window, neon colors melting into gold. Foreign voices drift through the midnight streets, while the city glows beneath the storm. The driver hums along to old radio songs, traffic lights reflecting on the dashboard. Itaewon's still wide awake tonight, breathing through bars and crowded roads. Rainy taxi through Itaewon, crossing the city after dark. Different languages in the night air, like scattered pieces of lonely hearts. Street food smoke rises through the rain. Music spills from open doors. Some people dancing like tomorrow disappeared, some staring quietly into their dreams. A red umbrella moves through the alley, laughter fades behind the neon signs. The whole neighborhood feels cinematic, like an unfinished midnight film. Rainy taxi through Itaewon, the windshield glowing silver blue. Seoul feels bigger here somehow, full of strangers passing through. River flashes beside the bridge, apartment lights blur in the distance, and suddenly the city feels fragile underneath all its bright noise. The meter keeps ticking softly, like time moving too fast again. Another sleepless ride through Seoul, another night that won't stay still. Itaewon, soft jazz playing through the speakers, turning wet roads into memories before morning washes them away. A couple runs laughing through the rain, someone smokes outside a small bar. The city keeps searching for warmth in 1,000 different Itaewon, neon trembling on the glass, and somewhere inside this moving night, I forget where I was going. Rainy taxi through Itaewon, still driving through the storm, while Seoul keeps glowing endlessly until another morning comes. Train arrives beneath fluorescent light, doors opening with a tired sound, people staring quietly at their phones, while another long day disappears underground. Station melodies echo softly across the cold platform air. Nobody really looks at each other, but everyone carries something heavy here. Subway announcements and lonely hearts moving through the city every night. Different stories sitting side by side under the same white lights. A woman sleeping against the window, a student holding coffee tight, someone scrolling through old messages, pretending everything is alright. The tunnels blur beyond the glass, like memories rushing past too fast. And somehow this crowded silence feels lonelier than being alone. Subway announcements and lonely hearts, the last train headed across Seoul, people drifting station after station, trying to make it home. I hear the familiar station voice, calm and emotionless again, but hidden beneath those simple words are thousands of exhausted lives. Outside the hand river keeps shining, neon trembling through the rain. Inside this moving metal carriage, everyone quietly disappears into thought. Subway announcements and lonely hearts, late night soul beneath the ground. The city never truly sleeps, it only changes sound. The jazz song plays inside my headphones, soft trumpet through the tunnel noise, and suddenly the loneliness tonight feels strangely beautiful. The final stop approaches slowly, doors opening into cold air. Another sleepless night in Seoul, waiting quietly out there. Subway announcements and lonely hearts, still moving through the dark, like tiny lights beneath the city, trying not to fall apart. Tall gray buildings fill the skyline, cold windows glowing over Seoul. At first this city feels distant, like concrete covering every soul. But hidden underneath the towers are quiet lights that never fade, tiny restaurants and narrow alleys where tired hearts still stay. The warm side of concrete lives between the neon and the rain, small smiles behind old doorways, soft voices at the end of long days. An old woman serves hot soup slowly, steam rising into winter air. Someone waits beneath the flickering sign for a person who may never come. The city rushes endlessly outside, subways roaring underneath the ground. But inside these tiny hidden spaces, time finally settles down. The warm side of concrete, where soul quietly keeps its heart, not inside the giant building but in the places falling apart. A jazz melody drifts through the alley, mixed with the smell of coffee and smoke. And suddenly this restless city feels softer than people think. I walk through Euljiro after midnight, old walls glowing orange in the rain. The cracks and stains feel beautiful, like memories refusing to disappear. The warm side of concrete, tiny warmth beneath the cold, people surviving together quietly inside this sleepless world. Maybe that's why I stay here, even when the city exhausts me, because hidden beneath the noise, there's still humanity breathing. The warm side of concrete and river lights beyond the dark, so carrying millions of lonely people without letting them completely break apart. The wall. The warm side of concrete, still glowing after midnight, like a small jazz song inside the endless city lights. Cold wind rushing through the empty streets, engine humming under fading neon lights. Another order blinking on the screen, one more ride before the morning arrives. Traffic signals changing endlessly, rainwater shining beneath the tires. The city's still awake at 4 a.m., running on invisible wires. One more delivery before sunrise, through sleepless roads and silent rain. Soul keeps calling my name. Convenience stores glowing white and blue, steam rising from late night food, taxi headlights sliding through the dark. Everything feels lonely but alive. A tired song plays inside my helmet, soft jazz floating through the noise. For a little while this rushing city feels softer than before. One more delivery before sunrise, crossing bridges over the The skyline flickers beside the water, like dreams trying not to disappear. me quietly with tired eyes, then disappears back into the warmth, while I return to the night again. The streets smell like rain and gasoline, subway stations waiting for dawn, workers, students, lonely strangers, all moving quietly on their own. One more delivery before sunrise, the city breathing fast below. Sometimes soul feels cold as concrete, sometimes strangely warm. The first train starts moving slowly, morning light touches the buildings, and suddenly the endless night begins fading into silver blue. One more delivery before sunrise, one more song inside the rain. Soul never really stops moving, it just keeps dreaming through the night again. One more delivery before sunrise, through the endless neon glow, carrying small pieces of comfort across the sleeping city roads. The city finally grows quieter here, beyond the towers and neon signs. Old stone walls beneath the moonlight, holding centuries inside. Footsteps echo down the narrow road, cold night air brushing past the trees. Somewhere far away, sirens fade, but this place still breathes slowly. Stonewall Road after midnight, soft shadows underneath the lamps. Soul feels older here somehow, like time forgot to run so fast. The palace gate stands silently, watching over sleepless hearts, while modern buildings glow behind them like another world too close. A couple walks without speaking, hands hidden inside winter coats. Their quiet footsteps disappear into the midnight fog. Stonewall Road after midnight, the city finally slows its voice. No advertisement screaming here, only wind and distant lights. I stop beside the ancient wall, touching cold stone with tired hands, thinking about how many people walked this same road before me. night smells faintly like rain and fallen leaves beside the path. An old jazz melody from my headphones makes the silence feel warmer. Stonewall Road after midnight, history glowing in silver blue, soul balancing past and future without ever standing still. Some places in this city still protect small moments of peace, even while the whole world outside rushes endlessly forward. Stonewall Road after midnight, and river lights beyond the trees, and somewhere inside this restless city, a quiet heart still dreams. Stonewall Road after midnight, the night holding so gently until morning wakes the city again. Cold breath drifting beneath the streetlights, winter wrapping softly around Seoul. The city feels quieter tonight, like exhaustion finally slowed its heartbeat. A man stands outside the convenience store, cigarette glowing in the dark, smoke rising into the frozen air, like thoughts he never says out loud. Cigarette smoke in winter air, floating through the sleepless night, neon trembling on icy roads under pale apartment lights. The last buses pass through empty streets, tires humming softly on wet asphalt. Somewhere distant laughter disappears, leaving only silence behind. I pull my coat a little tighter, hands buried deep against the cold. And suddenly this giant city feels strangely fragile tonight. Cigarette smoke and winter air, soft jazz echoing from somewhere below. An old trumpet melody drifting upward through alleys covered in frost. People move quietly after midnight, faces hidden beneath scarves and steam. Everyone carrying invisible worries like shadows following dreams. A small food stall still stays open, warm soup rising into the air. Workers eating without speaking, much too tired for conversation now. Cigarette smoke and winter air, the hand river glowing silver gray, soul breathing slowly beneath the cold, waiting for another dawn. I watch smoke disappear above the rooftops, vanishing into the dark sky, like another long exhausting day, finally fading away. The city never truly stops, even in the freezing night. But hidden inside all this coldness, tiny warmth still survives. Cigarette smoke in winter air, neon flickering through the snow. And somewhere in this restless city, a lonely heart still glows. The sky turns slowly pale above Seoul, night fading softly into gray. Street lights flicker one by one, like tired stars disappearing away. The first subway begins to move. Coffee shops unlock their doors. Delivery trucks cross empty roads, while yesterday still lingers quietly. The city's still breathing at dawn, even after another sleepless night. Windows glowing high above, like hearts refusing to give up the light. I walk beside the silent river, cold morning wind against my face. The noise feels far away right now, like the city finally slowed its pace. An old man sweeps the alley entrance, steam rises from a noodle shop. Someone yawns beside the bus stop as another long day starts. The city's still breathing at dawn, soft blue shadows over the streets, people carrying hidden worries underneath exhausted feet. The buildings look less intimidating when the morning light turns warm. For a little while this restless city feels peaceful before the storm. A jazz melody plays softly from headphones on the train, and suddenly all the loneliness feels strangely beautiful again. The city's still breathing at dawn, hand rivers shining silver gray. Night workers finally going home, while dreamers wake for another day. Some people chase success forever, some just try to survive. But everyone here keeps moving to feel a little more alive. The city's still breathing at dawn, quiet hope beneath the noise. So never truly falls asleep, it only changes voices. The city's still breathing at dawn. One more morning begins, and somewhere inside this endless city, we keep starting again. lights trembling in the dark. Cold wind drifting across the water, like memories passing through my heart. The city still glows behind me, tall buildings breathing neon blue. But out here beside the Han River, everything feels quieter somehow. 3 a.m. along the Han River, cars fading softly in the distance. Seoul finally slowing its heartbeat for a little while tonight. A bicycle passes through the silence, headlights cutting across the path. Someone sits alone near the railing, watching reflections break apart. The night smells faintly like rain and convenience store coffee. Soft jazz playing through my headphones, turning loneliness into scenery. 3 a.m. along the Han River, the skyline shining silver gray. This city feels less overwhelming when viewed from far away. The bridges stretch like quiet poems across the sleeping water below, and all the noise from earlier feels smaller than before. A couple laughs somewhere behind me, then disappears into the night, leaving only the sound of wind and distant traffic lights. 3 a.m. along the Han River, dreams floating through the cold air. Millions of people sleeping above, while exhausted hearts wander here. I breathe slowly beneath the skyline, watching dawn approach the east. And suddenly this restless city feels strangely gentle to me. Maybe Seoul never truly sleeps, because too many hearts are awake, trying to heal from invisible wounds no one else can really see. 3 a.m. along the Han River, neon fading into morning blue. And somewhere inside this endless city, we keep surviving the night together. 3 a.m. along the Han River, the water carrying quiet dreams, while Seoul glows softly behind me, like a city learning how to breathe. The elevator climbs the dark, soft fluorescent light above my head. I could still hear the city breathing outside, even after midnight had already passed. Keys dropped quietly on the kitchen table, cold coffee waiting beside the sink, rainwater shining on the apartment window, while the skyline refused to sleep. So I was still awake when I got home, cars moving like rivers below, neon colors floating through the curtains, like dreams that couldn't let go. The last subway had already ended, but somewhere buses still roll through the night. Delivery bikes crossed empty intersections under pale blue streetlights. I took off my coat beside the doorway, old jazz playing softly in the room, and suddenly the silence felt warmer than the noise I carried all day. So I was still awake when I got home, thousands of windows glowing quietly, like invisible people across the city, trying to survive another lonely night. The hand river shimmered in the distance, silver beneath the cloudy sky, and somehow this enormous restless city felt strangely close tonight. I wonder how many tired hearts are staring at their ceilings right now, thinking about unfinished dreams or someone they forgot to call. The refrigerator hums in the darkness, rain tapping lightly against the glass. Morning feels very far away, even though it's getting closer. Got home, the city breathing soft and low, not cold enough to abandon me, not warm enough to hold me. Maybe that's why I love this city, even when it exhausts me, because hidden beneath all the noise, there's always a little humanity left. Another dream quietly lives on.